of the today's session. So we shall begin with what is physics and who should pursue a career in physics. And then there will be two videos. Dr. Sunita Negi will explain various physics concepts through the videos, and she will ask you some questions also. So it will be an interactive session. And after that, we shall see that uh, physics has strong connections with various other branches such as law, medical sciences, and several other streams. And then we shall see that physicists are always versatile, and we look at short biography of various physicists. Next, madam. Okay, so let's begin with what is physics. So physics is actually one of the most fundamental sciences. We also call it natural science because it is actually a set of laws of nature which explain all the natural phenomena around us. So for example, we have the laws of nature, we have the laws of motion, which explains all kind of motion of different objects. Okay, and you know that the second law of motion is the most fundamental one, which is force is proportional to the rate of change of momentum. It's such a simple law, but it explains almost everything next to us. So basically, let me repeat that physics is a set of natural laws, and these natural laws explain all the natural phenomena. Not only that, physics is important because it has very strong connection with all the other domains of science. Next, madam. Now, who should study physics or who should pursue a career in physics? So, think of the following situation. Suppose something happens next to you, something happens near you, some natural event occurs close to you, in your close proximity. Now, ask yourself, do you spend time to understand this phenomenon? Do you ask questions to yourself to understand this particular phenomenon which just occurred next to you? If the answer is yes, then definitely you should go for a career in physics. Okay, because physics and mathematics are in subjects which make you logical. Okay. All right. So now Dr. Sunita Negi will take you to a journey to understand the concepts of physics through some experiments. Madam, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
So good afternoon, everyone. So as sir said, that physics is a very interesting subject which you can observe in most of the phenomena that occur around yourself, and most of the times it is incorporated with other domains as well, such as biology, chemistry, and so on and so forth. So here I will be presenting two videos. Basically, it is for the students, and they can just have a look. These are very simple experiments which are based on physics, and but yeah, they are very interesting. So I would request the students to please understand that what phenomena or is they are observing in these experiments, and what is the reason behind those. And anyone who is interested, who has got the answers, who understand, can just write the answers in the chat box, whatever they think about the experiment. And I would request Dr. Shashikant to please have a look at the chat box, and just after the video is over, we can just call the names of the students who have given the answers correctly. Is it
Okay,
okay,
madam.
sir?
Okay, madam.
So I'm going to start this. this was the first experiment. Okay, then you can see the next one. So this is basically the can go. Okay, so you see the can is going along the PVC pipe, and just you have to think about the reason behind it. Okay, so you see the small stick which was held by the wire. It is going by the motion. It is moving along the motion of the PVC pipe in the previous experiment, and So over.
Okay. Uh, so some of the students have tried to answer. Ankit has
Okay.
written because of opposite charges due to induction, and
Okay.
Anisha Agale has written like charges repel each other, and
Okay.
Sandeep Kumar has written intervening medium also less affected electrostatic force. Then
Mm-hmm.
Ankit has written by rubbing you are working some work that convert it into energy, and that energy transforms into electrons and induction taking place. By
Oh,
friction, Sandeep Kumar has written by friction object charged, but this activity is very interesting, madam.
okay.
Ankit, okay, charge transferring and Sandeep Kumar has written electroscope formation for charge check objects. Supriya Siva has written it is electrostatics. Okay, so I believe some of the comments are interesting.
Yes, sir.
Although the students have to be very precise, answers are
Yes.
partially correct.
Right. So, as far as I remember, Ankit has written it is due to the charges which are developed, right? But
Huh.
then we'll have to see that what kind of charges are developed on what surface. Ankit,
Yes,
so we will have to see whether a positive charge is developed or a negative charge is developed. Also, here they are using most of the experiments they are using a PVC pipe, right? Is Ankit there?
yes,
So yes, so when we rub it with any other surface like a foam or something like that, so a negative charge is induced on the surface of the PVC pipe. Okay, so when we will bring it close to any other negative charge surface, it will get repelled, whereas to the positive charge surface, it will get attracted. Okay, so yeah, sir, so they have given the answers partially, so they have
huh.
to dig out the answers more correctly. But it's good that they have responded at least.
Yes. So this is the first video you have presented.
Yes, sir. There is one more.
Okay. So
Okay.
before you go for the next video, I wish to mention that students please try to perform these experiments at home. And when your
Yes.
parents scold you, tell them that you are going to be a young scientist.
So in this video, in the second video, fortunately, the name of the phenomena is already mentioned over there. So so there is, it's not like a quiz this time, but yes, they can try to understand the physics behind it, and they can try to interpret how it is happening. Okay, and maybe at the end of it we can have a discussion. So I'm going to play this also. So this is all.
Okay, thank you, madam. I'll read some comments from the students.
Okay.
So Ankit is saying tried in secondary school time. Okay,
Okay,
Ankit,
fine.
very so most of us perform these experiments in the school days, but there is a difference. So in the school you do it for fun, and if you repeat these experiments now at home, you will develop a deeper understanding. So for example, diffusion we all know from the school days, but now you can understand the same diffusion by writing the diffusion equation. Okay, and then you can see what is the dependence on temperature and other factors. Okay. um, then Sandeep Kumar is saying, sorry, Ankit is saying equilibrium. Shaurya, it is equilibrium. Sandeep Kumar, osmosis process going on like chromatography. Atmospheric pressure role. Ankit, density difference.
Right, right.
Himanshi Angira, different density of different liquids. Sandeep Kumar, immersible liquid of different density. Ankit, virtual image formation due to medium interfere. So for example, when you think of the optical illusion or the optical inversion, can you draw the ray diagram, right? So
Yes,
that is the
yes.
difference when you do it in school days and you do it now. Okay, and then Sandeep Kumar is saying due to atmospheric pressure, Ankit, air pressure and suction pressure. Sandeep Kumar, electrolysis of water. Ankit, solubility increases with temperature. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Effects of temperature on solubility, Sandeep Kumar. And okay, Ankit is saying, agree with you. Uma Shekhawat, oxygen gas forms bubbles. Nice. Okay. So thank you, students, for enthusiastically taking part.
Yeah.
And thank you, madam, for
Yes.
the nice presentation of the videos. So let me continue with some more slides.
Yes, sir. Over to you.
Okay. So when you perform, so let's say when you join a course or a degree program in physics, what sort of skills do you develop? Or in other words, what sort of skills are required for a physicist? So after having a degree in physics, you will realize that you have developed a problem, the most important skill, which is the problem solving skill. Again, now you can handle the scientific instruments easily and nicely. You would also develop certain mathematical skills after a degree in physics. And then you would also learn programming during this course. Also modeling and simulations, you will have a good understanding of the programming tools and simulations. And along with these, you will also develop some soft skills such as working well in a team, being a good listener, and having good written and oral communication skills. Okay, so that's what physics teaches you. Now, I told you in the beginning that physics has a strong connection with all the other disciplines. So, for example, law. What is the connection between physics and law? Okay, uh, initially in the beginning you would think that, oh, there is no connection between physics and law, but I'll take an example of LSAT. So it's basically the law school admission test in the US. And mathematics and physics students, when they appear in LSAT exam, they actually outperform everyone. So here is a list of average score of the students from different disciplines. So you see, physics and mathematics, they basically get the highest scores. This is basically taken from 2012, and similarly in MCAT also. So out of various other disciplines, why mathematics and physics perform better in the law school admission test? The reason is very simple. Law requires logic, and mathematics and physics teaches you the logic. That is why you perform better. Next, please. Okay, now physics has a very strong connection with economics as well. So, for example, when you think of the room you are sitting in, there is air in the room. And if you think of the air molecules, all these molecules move randomly. The random motion of these molecules depend on temperature. And these, the velocity of these molecules can be easily summarized by a law which is called the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution law. Okay, you see on the right hand side there is a graph. It shows you the velocity and how many molecules will have that particular velocity. Or you can also call it energy, because velocity has a connection with energy. So how many molecules will have this much energy? That is plotted here in this graph. Now, interestingly, when you model the wealth of people in a society or in a country, you would be surprised to know that that this problem also has same distribution, or it follows the same law. So basically, if you plot a graph of number of people having a certain wealth, you will get the same kind of curve. So you see, physics and economics combined together to solve the problem of finance or economics. So this new branch of physics, this new branch of science is called econophysics. Another interesting connection can be seen in the stock market. So you see, when you look at the atoms in a solid, they perform simple harmonic motion. They perform vibrations, and these vibrations, they are actually, they require quantum mechanics to we require quantum mechanics to understand the oscillations. So these atoms are also called quantum harmonic oscillators. They are slightly different from the normal pendulum, because in normal pendulum, the energy of the pendulum can be a can have a continuous value. But for the quantum oscillator, the energy value will be discrete. Now you can actually model the stock market very easily with the quantum harmonic oscillator. This is another connection between the physics and economics. It is often said that physicists perform well in stock market. Next, please. Okay. Again, physics has a very strong connection with medical science. So meet Miss Christina Barrow. She holds a degree in physics, and now she is a medical physicist at Los Angeles. So a medical physicist is actually a professional who uses the applications and the concepts of physics to diagnosis and the treatment of human diseases. So nowadays, this medical physics is a very exciting field, and a lot of people are actually opting for this. A lot of companies are medical, the pharma companies and the companies which prepare and which construct the medical equipment and instruments, they hire a lot of physics students. Next, please. So there are various career opportunities as far as a physics degree is concerned. So one can go for a research career, for a career as a research scientist. One can go for astronomy, one can go for healthcare, engineering, energy sector, technology. One can even go for geophysics. So there are various opportunities for the physics degree holders, because physics has very strong connection with several other disciplines. Next, please. Now, not only science, but you see, physicists have been involved in policy making also. So you see some pictures of some eminent physicists here. Professor Raja Ramanna, who was actually the father of Indian nuclear physics program. So he was the man behind the Pokhran tests in 1971, the first nuclear test performed by India. And he also served as Union Minister of Defense. Then Professor M.G.K. Menon. So he also performed as Union Minister of Science and Technology. And then we have Professor Vikram Sarabhai, who was the founder of Indian Space Research Program. Not only that, he also conceptualized the idea of IIMs. So he was the founder of IIM Ahmedabad. He has set up many industrial units and many chemical industries also. He was a great visionary. And not only in India, worldwide also, you will find that physicists have been involved in policy making, such as Professor Akito Arima, who is a physicist, but he happens to be the Minister of Education in Japan also. Next, please. Here you see some of the physicists with, which you will feel that they are having an unusual career. So, for example, Ms. Ginger Carrick, who had a master's degree in physics, and now she is a flight director at NASA Space Center, Houston. She looks after the human flights. They land safely after the space mission. And then we have Elon Musk, who is the founder of SpaceX company. It's a private company, and it's basically involved in the space programs. They are planning to launch space vehicles. They are planning for various manned missions. And then on the right hand side, you have Dr. Olivia Tsang. She holds a PhD from Max Planck Institute in Germany, Heidelberg, and currently she is working as a patent attorney in the UK. So you see different people coming from same background, physics, but they are performing duties. They are actually doing things outside the physics domain. Next, please. So you can read many such stories at this link, which is shared with you. Before I finish, let me ask you, so you see the picture in this previous slide? Yes. So you see the picture. Can you tell me who is this young boy and why this career is unusual? So I said that his career is unusual. Why? Yes, it is Einstein. Yes, Ankit, Uma, and Arbaj have mentioned that it is Einstein. But why do we consider his career as unusual? Okay, the answer is he worked as a clerk in the patent office. Yes. So he worked in the patent office. That's quite unusual. Unlike in a lab, he was working in a patent office. Okay, so thank you very much.
Okay. So sir has given a very nice details about the career prospects of physics, and I hope many students would get motivated by this. Now, is this presentation visible, GD Goenka University?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I would like to quickly go through it, and for the new students who would like to get an introduction to our university. So this is the view of our university from some top building, and there are some awards and rankings which have been given to the university. So you can see some of the renowned organizations like QS, Times of India, Times B School, Forbes. They have given a very good ranking, a gold rating to the GD Goenka University, and we also provide some scholarships to the economically background students, and sometimes this scholarship is up to 100%, which can be offered to the deserving students. And there is a study abroad program where we have linked with the many renowned universities at USA, Australia, Netherlands, UK, France, and so on. So the students can go and pursue their one semester in these universities. Now there are different schools at our university. So we are at the School of Basic and Applied Sciences, and there are other schools also. Here is the list. You can go through this. And Professor Dr. Ramkrishna Thakur, he is the Dean of the School of Basic and Applied Sciences, and he has a vast experience of teaching and research. He has got PhD in low temperature physics from Germany, and also he holds a PhD in ICT in education. Now, this is our Department of Physics, the faculty members. So, Dean Sir, Professor Thakur, he is heading he is the head of the department. Then Dr. Shashikant Gupta, who is the faculty in charge, and some other faculty members also. And we have specializations in many fields such as condensed matter, ultra cold molecules, and computational physics, capacitors, supercapacitors, nanoscience, and so on. Now, these are the faculty members at the Department of Chemistry, which is headed by Dr. Priyanka Sharma. And you can see there are many faculty members with specializations in medicinal chemistry, coordination chemistry, and so on. Now, there is the Department of Mathematics, which is headed by Dr. Naresh Sharma. And there are other faculty members, Dr. Deepika Garg, Dr. Renu, Dr. Rajbir Singh, and Dr. Ruchi Pawar. And there are many fields of research also in mathematics, like differential equations, numerical methods, and so on. Now, this is the Department of Biological Sciences, which is headed by Dr. Priyanka Tyagi, and Dr. Shashank Kamble and Dr. Ronak Dhankar are also there in this department. And basically, they work on drug delivery, diabetes, drug resistance, heavy metal decompression, cancer therapy, and so on. Now, the Department of Forensic Science. So, Dr. Niharika Srivastav is the faculty in charge, and there are other faculty members also. And the area of research include forensic medicines, fingerprint identifications, and so on in this department. Now, research at SOBAS, there are more than 30 PhD scholars which are registered with our school, and they are working in the different domains of biological science, physics, chemistry, maths, and environmental science, as I told you in the previous slides. Now, these are the three the funded research projects which are given to our faculty members. Now, in this slide, we want to show you some of the state-of-the-art lab facilities. So we have got very good lab facilities, as you can see in the pictures. The students are performing their experiments. And now there are different undergraduate programs in SOBAS. So we have BSc Honors Chemistry, Physics, Mathematics, Forensic Science, Microbiology, Biochemistry, Biotechnology. And other than these honors programs, we also have the PAS courses also, as mentioned in this slide. Now, there are postgraduate and doctoral programs in SOBAS. So in almost all the domains of the science and mathematics, we have the master's programs also, and there are PhD programs also, as listed in the last row of the this PPT. Now, there are some postgraduate diploma programs in SOBAS. So, PG diploma in criminology, in cosmetics, data science, and environment. So, these are some of the diploma courses of duration of 1 year. Now, these are some of the best practices which we follow in our university. So, there is a mentor-mentee relationship. For every student, we assign a mentor, and he can talk to the mentor regarding any problem related to his academic or non-academic issue. And then the problem, if it doesn't get solved, then it can be discussed with the HOD and the dean as well. And there is a very nice SIM software platform which we have to maintain the attendance and the other academic things of the related to the students. Now, experiential learning program in which we organize different educational trips for the students to various industries and laboratories. We also organize conferences and faculty development programs, student development programs like the one you are attending. Then there are also distinguished expert lectures which we arrange. There are short and long term training programs at the industries and the academic institutes. So here you can see Professor PB Sharma, who had come to our university to deliver a lecture, and also Dr. Krishna Kumar, from a senior scientist from NASA. He also visited our campus. Now, there are some other pictures for this experiential learning where we invited Dr. D.K. Aswal from NPL New Delhi, Dr. Ram Kumar from the Central University of South Bihar, and also we invited Dr. N.B. Bardhan, Director of CBI CFSL Delhi. Now, these are the pictures from some of the student development programs where you can see the many students from the various departments. They participate in the school development program, and they get the certificates and the awards also during these student development programs. Now, here are the pictures from some industrial visits which were done to NPL, IIT, and IUAC last year, I guess. Most of these are from the previous year. And this is a student visit to AIMS and Anveshna, where our students had participated, and some of them they had won prizes as well. Now, due to the pandemic situation, this year we are organizing different online conferences. So these are some of the glimpses from the National Online Conference, which was organized with ESDA in 2020. And there is this International Conference on Sustainable Cities, which was organized in campus in February 2020. Now, these are some outreach programs in which we try to connect with the schools at various levels in the Delhi NCR region. So the faculty members, they go and they visit the school and they talk to the students regarding their aims and ambitions, and we try to clarify their doubts. So here are some of the glimpses from those student outreach programs. Now, a very important program which was organized at our school was the DST Inspire Camp, in which nearly 150 students had participated from various states across the nation, and they had a very good experience of learning with the distinguished speakers who had come for this Inspire program. Now, these are some of the placements which were done last year. So some of our brilliant students, they got selected in the companies. So the names of the students and the company name, and as well as the position, is also mentioned. So here also you can see some of our recruiters, which are very good and renowned companies. And yeah, so these are the links which you can go through our website homepage, Facebook homepage, and Instagram homepage, where you can find the information related to SOBAS. Okay, thank you so much. Hello.
Well, so thank you, Dr. Negi.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta ji, for enlightening and highly motivational talk.
Welcome, sir.
Navigation. Thank you so much. And now we open the session for questions. Dr. Renu Chaudhary and Dr. Kamble.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Sonika Sethi, do you have questions?
So we have
Yes,
one
sir. There are
question.
lots of questions.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
So,
go ahead, please.
Dr. Chaudhary, so maybe you can start reading the question so that our expert can answer. We will try.
Okay. There is one question from Ankit. He's asking, sir, could you please let me know which rays or waves is highly present in neutron star? And what is your opinion on parallel bursts?
Okay, Ankit, I hope I'm audible. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, so Ankit, neutron stars are made up of neutrons mostly. It's a degenerate matter where all the protons and electrons have combined to form the neutrons. So it's made up of neutrons, and although in the form of radiation, since there are no nuclear reactions taking place, so you will not see the radiation. But when the neutron star interacts with the nearby objects, then you see the radiation. And secondly, in this interaction, sometimes you see gravitational waves as well. So gravitational waves also can be observed from the neutron stars. Okay, and second is, what is your opinion on parallel universes? So actually, this is something on which no one can comment, because if the parallel universes exist, then we can only see them, or we can only confirm this theory if there is a causal connection, cause and effect wala connection between the two parallel universes. Otherwise, we cannot say anything about them. So right now, it is just a fancy theory. Is that the answer to your questions, Ankit?
Ankit? Sir, he's saying that means there is no neutron decay in neutron star like alpha and beta decay.
Okay, so in the neutron star, this whole star acts like a big nucleus. Okay, so usually in the small nuclei you see the alpha decay or beta decay. Some protons and neutrons form an alpha particle, and then it comes out. And similarly, neutron converts into proton, and then you see a beta particle coming out. So definitely there is a possibility you may have the beta decay from the neutron stars, but the question is,
Yes.
if the intensity of these beta decay, the intensity of these beta particles is so high, then only you can observe them. Otherwise, you cannot. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Yes, sir.
again, he wrote something. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir. Sir, he has written, but inside a nucleus, there is a neutron decay according to a Japanese scientist.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There may be neutron decay, and because of that, there will be beta emission. But you can observe it only and confirm the theory only if the intensity of these beta particles is too high to be detectable. Then only you can confirm this. Right now, this is just a theory.
Okay, sir. He is satisfied with the answer.
Okay, good. So any more question?
No more questions, sir.
So I think talk is very good. So almost everything is understandable for all our attendees. That's really great. So, well, before giving thanks to the speakers, could you please there is one more question from Sandeep Kumar. I think he also wants to know something about the black hole. Could you please read the question?
Yes, sir. Sir, he has written, can I know how black hole form?
Okay. So, Sandeep, there are three types of black holes. So, one are called the stellar mass black holes. So, these are basically, at the end state of a star, these black holes form. So, if you have a very massive star, some 10-20 times the mass of the sun, and after its life is over, after it ends its all fuel, it basically undergoes a supernova explosion, and after the supernova explosion, the a black hole is formed. Sometimes black hole, sometimes neutron star, sometimes white dwarf, depending on how much is the initial mass, starting mass of the star. So if the mass is very high, then definitely will form a black hole. So these are called stellar mass black holes. Then we have supermassive black holes. So these supermassive black holes are present at the center of each galaxy, and their mass is million times the mass of the sun. We do not completely understand the formation of these stars, but we believe that they are formed first, and then the galaxy is formed, and then they accrete or they pull matter from the nearby objects, and then they grow in size. And then there are intermediate mass black holes, which are something like 100 times the mass of the sun or 1,000 times the mass of the sun. And the formation process of these medium-sized black holes is also unknown, not very well understood. Probably they are made up of collisions of several different objects. You know, you have 2-3 black holes. They come together and they merge with each other to form the intermediate mass black holes.
Good. So I think all questions are answered, and
Yes.
our attendees are quite happy with the answer. That's great. So before thanking to the speaker, I would like to announce here about the next session. Next SDP is, I think, on 1st of September, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
SDP, the Student Development Program, is scheduled on 1st of September,
Yes,
for
sir.
which attendees, everyone can get a flare maybe in next days on our homepage, webpage,
Yes, sir.
Facebook,
Sir,
or
in
email.
next webinar series.
Right. But here, the display that is about the next session of Eminent Scientist webinar series, and it is actually our 4th session. So far, you might be witnessed, many of you, that it was conducted, organized by legendary people from IIT, professor, NASA scientist, or a German professor working at a Taiwan Medical University. And so the 4th session is on, say, nanotechnology training and research at SENSE. SENSE stands for Center of Nanoscience and Engineering, established in 2015, inaugurated by our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and it associates more than 25-30 professors, highly acclaimed professors from across the world. So here, this session will be conducted by 2 very promising, dynamic, young physicist, electrical engineer, Dr. Ambrish Ghosh. He is an associate professor currently at IISc. Earlier, he was at Harvard University for 5-7 years. And the second speaker is Dr. Akshay Nayak. He is also associate professor. And earlier, he was at California Institute of Technology, so-called Caltech. You might be knowing, very famous, more than 70 Nobel laureates produced the university, including Richard Feynman, who is actually somehow the flag bearer of nanotechnology, and also recently passed away Dr. Gell-Mann. Gell-Mann is one of the brightest particle physicists who passed away just last year, I think May 24 or 25. And he also received Nobel Prize for particle physics in 1969 somewhere. So he spent there for 6 to 7 years. So these 2 dynamic academician leaders will give a session day after tomorrow at 4 o'clock from 4 to 5. So I may kindly request you to attend this conference, this session. They will speak about which kind of the nanotechnological training and research they are doing at SENSE. SENSE is providing research and training not only for the Indians, but it was established with the motive to train the world's best mind. And so SENSE is full of the international global researcher. These people are also supervising some students from Japan, America, Germany, China, Korea, and so on, so many other countries. So I'm sure this will also be quite helpful to improve our understanding about the activities in terms of nanotechnology, which is actually the emerging trend in the 21st century. So thank you so much. And at the outset, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to both the speakers, Dr. Sasikant Gupta ji, who is actually heading the physics department, and Dr. Sunita Negi. She is actually the associate professor of physics, and very bright, both are very bright faculty members you must have witnessed throughout the session. So thank you, Dr. Gupta, and thank you, Dr. Negi, for conducting this session very sincerely, effectively, actively for the benefit of our students. And besides, I would also like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all the participants, students, parents, faculty members outside of GD Goenka University, and also all my faculty members from SOBAS faculty in charges, Dr. Priyanka Sharma, Dr. Tyagi, Dr. Niharika, Dr. Naresh Sharma, and all the senior faculty members who have supported this seminar, this session very actively, sincerely since the beginning throughout. Thank you so much indeed to everyone. And at the end, I would like to extend my thanks to Dr. Renu Chaudhary. She is actually the coordinating this SDP series. Dr. Renu Chaudhary and your team, Dr. Kamle, Dr. Sonika Sachi, and thank you so much indeed. And
Thank
wonderful day. Take very good care of yourself. Stay safe. Stay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.